Good morning, Carson Crew. Happy April. It's April 1st. It is a Wednesday. So if today's Wednesday, what was yesterday? Yesterday was Tuesday. Good job using those complete sentences. If today's Wednesday, what will tomorrow be? Tomorrow will be Thursday. I hope everybody slept well and you guys are doing well so far today. It looks a little wet outside, but we're still going to try to get outside for a little fresh air. But I have our money and time for you to figure out. All right, what do those coins? I see a $5 bill. And then what time does that clock say? And if it's that time and you're getting ready for bed, would it be AM or PM? Try to answer that question. You guys are doing such a good job. I have a chapter for us from Spectacular Stone Soup. They decided to make some stone soup, so let's see what happens in chapter 3. Stacy looked out the window. She tried to think of a great invitation. She tried to see if anyone was near the pencil sharpener. Do you remember what happened yesterday with the pencil sharpener? She broke it, but she didn't tell the teacher. Uh-oh. Poor Mrs. Zachary. Wait till she found out. Stacy knew she'd be sad. She'd be the only teacher in the whole school with no pencil sharpener. Up in front, Mrs. Zachary was putting words on the board. Come, soup, invitation, Miss Rooney, class, Friday. So just like I put up different words or things you might use, they're creating invitations and she's putting some words they may need to know how to spell on the board. Stacy didn't pay attention to the words. She wasn't going to use words. She couldn't read them anyway. No, she was going to make pictures. Spectacular orange pictures. She'd draw them all over her invitation. First, she'd make an orange picture of Mrs. Zachary's class. Then she'd do an orange Miss Rooney's class. Last, she'd make a pot of soup. Spectacular stone soup. Maybe she'd make the soup green. She didn't want it to look like tomato soup, even though I love tomatoes. Oh, she hated tomatoes. Just then, Robert went past her table. He began to root around in his cubby. Robert was always doing that. He never could find anything. Stacy bet his crayons were lost. He'd have to use a pencil. How do you think she feels about somebody using the pencil sharpener? He'd probably have to sharpen it. He'd be yelling all over the place when he saw the broken pencil sharpener. Look, that's him looking for something in his cubby. She's hoping he doesn't have to use the pencil sharpener. What are you doing? She asked. Trying to find my crayons. Robert's face was red. He was pulling everything out of his cubby. Old pictures, sloppy ones, 2 old snack bags. No wonder Robert was so skinny. A pencil with no point. Stacy clicked her teeth. I knew it, she said. I'll lend you a crayon. Robert followed her back to her table. He waited while Stacy picked up her crayon box. It said Emily Arrow on the front. It was a good thing Emily didn't use her crayons much. Stacy couldn't find her own crayons either. Oh no, so Stacy was using someone else's crayons. She picked out a nice yellow one for Robert. He shook his head no. How about purple? Brown? Yuck. Stacy sighed. Then what? Robert reached for the orange crayon. No good, Robert, Stacy said. I need that. I like orange, he said. I always use orange. Mrs. Zachary stopped writing on the board. All right, she said, let's get started. Robert held out his hand. Stacy slapped the yellow crayon into it. Robert slapped it back on the table. Come on, Robert, said Stacy. You heard Mrs. Zachary. Let's get started. Robert looked as if he were going to cry. Stacy thought about people helping people. She thought about her invitation. She thought about drawing a green Mrs. Zachary's class, a blue one, yellow. Robert was walking away. He looked back. Never mind. I'll use my pencil. That's what she was hoping he wouldn't do. Stacy raced after him. Big baby, she said. Here. Ooh, I don't know if that was a very kind thing to say. Hey, thanks, he said. After she tossed the orange crayon on his table, Mrs. Zachary looked up. What's happening? Stacy looked at Robert. He'd tell Mrs. Zachary how nice she was. He'd say Stacy had lent him her best pointy orange crayon. Stacy began to smile. She showed all of her teeth, even the back ones. Yes, indeed, it certainly was great to be a people helper. Robert didn't say anything, though. He just slid into a seat. Get going, Mrs. Zachary said. Stacy started back to her table. That was the last time she'd help Robert. Let him use his old broken pencil for a change. Then she remembered the sharpener. She looked up. Patty was heading straight toward it. Hey, said Patty, look at this. She didn't look. She sat down at her table. She stared at her invitation paper. She knew what was going to happen next. Yes, trouble. Someone finally realized that the pencil sharpener was broken. What do you think's going to happen? What should Stacy do? What do you think she should do? Let's think about it. What would be the right thing for Stacy to do? Do you think she should pretend it wasn't her? Should she tell and be honest that it was her? Because people get in a lot less trouble if they're honest about things. I guess we'll see what happens in chapter 4. I hope you guys are doing great. And I miss you guys so much. If you need anything for Google Classroom or anything else, or want to do a Google Meet today, let me know. Okay? I'm here for you. And we'll talk to you soon.